Suspect does not admit to having the phone. That is PC to search the it's PC to arrest the subject. That's how I'm going to play it.
Well, look, here's the deal, okay? Right, Mike? If we can arrest that person, if we have the probable cause because it's pinging and other things, I've had this case before, a situation where a homeless person, picked up a phone from a bathroom. I don't know why anyway, but the point is that I detained the person. They're not going anywhere. I had the friend kind of like call the phone and it rang in the guy's pocket. That's the easiest case, right? But let's say you have the PC. Let's just say you had the PC. It's pinging. There's nobody else around, and your iPhone is saying it's right there. And in this situation, though, it's a misdemeanor. It's a citation and release. What are you gonna do in that situation?
Okay, so now we're changing my facts, and you're in one of these states where you can't arrest people for crimes. You have to give them a ticket and let them go.
That's right.
Say, please don't do this again.
Yes.
Not
you're in Washington State.
Oh well, don't even take me there. What color is the person in Washington State?
Well, before you say that, that's a very loaded statement you just said there. Please tell people what you mean by that, so they might get confused.
Is everywhere I teach, I say it could be worse, guys. You could be a law enforcement officer in the state of Washington. Palisum is my case. P-A-L.
No.
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah. Oh no. Okay, go on. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, Palisum, right? Mm-hmm. And basically, what the Washington Supreme Court came out and said is, when you are conducting a analysis on whether a citizen and officer interaction is a detention or a consensual encounter, the person's race is a factor to be considered because of the extensive and endemic history of racism in law enforcement. A subject's race is absolutely a factor to determine whether it's as a consensual encounter or a seizure, meaning you can have the exact same fact pattern where an officer walks up to one kind of person, one type of person based solely on the color of their skin, exact same fact pattern, and it's a consensual encounter. You change their skin color and it's a seizure under the Fourth Amendment or under the Washington.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
horrifying.
Yeah. So
horrifying.
It's crazy. It is. It's so, John, you're not going to be seized. Mike is probably going to be seized. It's just that it's crazy that a person's skin color could even, I mean, we're doing our job. We're being professional. We're just talking to people. We have no idea what this person's background is, and nor does it matter in 49 different states because it's based on objective reasonableness, not subjective reasons, what that person thinks. It's absolutely incredible. So, it sucks, but let's move back to our question. So
it makes me sick.
It makes me sick. No, it's absolutely disgusting that actually who the racists are the judges. They assume that a person of color is scared of the police. That's a racist actually statement, quite frankly. I mean, they're making a judgment of that person without any facts. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's how I look at it. All right. All right. So back to the the question here. So here's how I look at this. Okay. First of all, I've only found one state in the union that has ever said that if you have probable cause for somebody that has evidence on their person, that you cannot recover the evidence under some rationale. Okay. And that state is Maryland. They just don't like it. And it's not even really that clear, but they seem to want the arrest no matter what. Okay. But every other state that I have looked into this issue has justified this intrusion on various grounds. And let me just kind of go through them. One is exigency. If the guy has the phone on him and you're not going to make the arrest, what they're saying is, well, if you're not going to make the arrest, by definition, they have to leave, right? So when you make them leave, are they ever going to bring that phone back to court? You're going to lose that evidence. I think I see this in a lot of shoplifting incidents. The next justification that I see is that it's an arrest and a release. Colorado, I saw that case have that. Like they said, hey, basically it's like It's a not what they call it, a non-custodial arrest. I don't really like that one too much personally, but I've seen that. The next one I've seen is that, look, if you could have arrested him, this is those states where you could have arrested him, but you choose not to arrest him, then why not give the cops the option to do the lesser intrusion, which is to seize the evidence and let them go? And finally, just overall reasonableness, right? You know, you have a person on the sidewalk. It's going to take about 2 hours to get a warrant. Why isn't it reasonable just to grab this evidence, cite them, and kick them loose? I don't look, if the courts say that you cannot recover that evidence, then they're saying that you need a warrant. And they're basically saying a lot of people are going to get arrested or detained in the back of a police car for 2 hours. I don't think courts are really, I mean, that's a big move, right? That's a big move.
Let me ask you this, Anthony. Is it a full-blown search, or is it a little more specific and targeted?
Yeah, it's definitely, so this is the case on point. Well, not the case on point. The case the seminal case is Murphy versus Cupp, or it might be Cupp versus Murphy. John can correct me, but it's Murphy versus Cupp, where an officer had probable cause that this guy Cupp had evidence of a murder under his fingernails. They grabbed the evidence of not the DNA because it's the 70s, but they grabbed the blood evidence and the fibers and they let him go. The U.S. Supreme Court said that was exigency, but it's a very tailored search. This is not a search incident to arrest. But I can tell you this: if you are in the situation and you can arrest the person, okay, the law allows you to arrest them with discretion. Here's what you should do: ask them for their consent. If they say no, hook them up and just take them to jail. That's what I would do. But if you are in a state that doesn't allow the arrest, like Nevada, in many of these cases, then I am teaching to do it, but argue exigency. That's what I would do, because I think you have exigency. Otherwise, the court is going to say, hold these dudes for 2 hours in 115-degree heat in the middle of summer while you get a warrant. I don't think that's reasonable either. John, that's how I'm looking at it, but we don't have a case from a very high level. Like, we definitely don't have a Supreme Court case besides Cupp that talks about the shoplifting evidence or the phone.
Right. The issue is we're going to run into this idea of search incident to citation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, you know, and I mean, some courts have said that that's okay, right? If in certain prescribed circumstances, like your shoplifting example, right?
Yeah.
Is it California that says like you can search incident to a cite and release if the person is told, like it occurs under facts that an objectively reasonable person would understand that they are subject to arrest, or they understand what's happening? I don't know. It's these lower state court levels. But yeah, nothing high that we can rely on across the board. But we do know you can't search incident to citation. It has to be search incident to custodial arrest if that's what you're relying on.
Well, can I clarify that though, John? I think that yes, that is true, because that's you know, Ohio, Iowa versus Knowles, right? But I don't quite know that's really the way that the training point is. No, there's no search incident to citation. If you look at, you know, Wayne LaFave, he does talk about some situations where there was a search incident citation, like the situation we're talking about here. In Knowles, that was a purely, we can arrest. There's no evidence of the crime, which was speeding, but we could arrest for speeding in Iowa. The cop chose to not necessarily arrest the person, search first, decide later, right? I don't know if we really go to court and say, this is exactly the same. This is a search incident citation. This is a search based on exigency or lesser intrusion. I mean, you know, I guess we're saying the same thing, but you could maybe search by issuing a citation if you have evidence or PC if the person has evidence on them.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interest. It's got to get resolved eventually, right? It's one of these things. I find it fascinating because it's one of these things. It's like everybody does it.
Everybody does it.
Everybody does it because it needs to happen. Practically, it just makes sense, right? You cite and release shoplifters. They've got property on them. I'm taking it off of them. It's just happening. And so we don't really get challenged on it. So there's some case law on it.
Reasonable.
Yeah.